So after Vasco da Gama didn't return after his voyage, the Spanish wanted also. There was a claimed victory in Portugal that he made it. He's there. They have land. After that, the Spanish, which was their competitor, assigned Christopher Columb by Queen Isabel. He sailed, they say in history books, to find this new land. They wanted another route. If they got Africa, to find this new land, which is not Africa here. So they went to South America, as I just said in the beginning of the video. But did they go on such a long distance? If he sailed along the coast, then Vasco da Gama also said how much food was needed for this, how much. I think many boats might have sunk because of these rumors from Vasco da Gama. And said it's enough. If he can sail so long without that's enough water, enough food. And they went with enough water, without food. Many sheep went and didn't have no food to continue. They ate themselves, in some scenarios on the ships. And they probably, those mapped that sheep, and they took something from there, from one ship, and they continued with much fear in themselves. They make it to the next ship that went, or just stayed aside. They stayed aside for other people who were trying to sail, to see how far they are going. And when they were left without supplies, or somewhere, there were wars at sea. And they understood something there. It's the only food left and the only supplies left, and who's gonna have it, because it's a battle between life and death. And this how the new land was found. Was many of these battles. There were three main battles, three main ships. They were like this, but those ships had little smaller ships with them. I think help. They had helps, and one survived somehow. The Dutch Indies company survived, and they reached mainland, and they knew the route. They left those two two working ships in the ocean as a note, and they arrived the land, and they said we arrived here, and they stayed on the land, and whoever arrived after them, they would guide their course on the main American land. And on the American land, since they were a company and they knew, they were the ones who, okay, you go there, you go there, you go there. They reached the main coast. But then then a later story, what might the Spanish have said about this? They made a deal. They will have the south of the map, that part of the map which is now south of America, where is Mexico and Nicaragua and those parts, while they stay on the main north of the continent. They had this because they both sailed, and who arrived first, that's what counts. And they arrived to South America instead. They say, okay, you have that, we have this. There were two continents discovered there. And the Dutch set the course for the next generations to come there, while the Spanish set the course for the next generation to come to South America. And to South America, since Vasco da Gama was allowed to, he was the main sailor who started all this sailing. They gave a lot of probably they gave a lot of authority to settle on the new continent. And we know Brazil is a part of the Portuguese uh, empire. And we don't know, was this land left to Portuguese because they were very fearful people. Their aborigines were very strong, and they didn't know how to deal with them, so the Spanish settled for the peaceful parts of the land, although they were not so peaceful. There were battles, battles, battles. There was the Maya and the Inca and the Aztecas, and that was before Mayans and Aztecas. This was a little bit later on, not so much later on. And after that, they spoke with the man on the land, the Dutch, because he was a trader. They needed some power there, since they had Spanish had the unfortunate incident to fight with such fearful force with Aztecas and Incas, and they were met with much rebellion. They needed something strong, someone strong or a lot of power, manpower, and they needed from where to take Portuguese, Portugal, or just mainland where they sailed before, where then sailed before Portuguese sailed and mapped Africa. So they said, because we meant and mapped Africa, they was made to send people to fight for the future wars. But since there were no future wars, the Africans manhelp that came to South America was met, okay, there's no war, there's no nothing to do here. So they were sent as the fearful warriors, probably, or the strongest fit men, and then there was no war because of the smallpox which killed all the aborigines of South America, the Incas and the Aztecas. And after that, the Aztecas is today is Mexico. The Inca is Peru, and Mayans, I don't know now when it comes to mind which land is exactly. Probably is better for this. We'll discover later. And since there were no problems with war, they had another situation. They were friends, and they still hold a good friends attitude till today in Brazil. In America, though, since there's so much to do, so much land, and there were much wars there because America had the indigents of its own, and they were American Indians, and they had to fight with them because there were fearful wars like with the Aztecas and the Spanish. So that if they had some information what to do if they had that smallpox with them, but they did not have that, they would have completely got the land for themselves. The people who were let in by the Dutch in this company, East Dutch Indies Company is called. They were the main settlers in America, as I just mentioned before. And if they had that would have cleaned the land if that what they wanted. But instead they had to fight. They fought a lot. They fought, and they sent land there and there. New York, for example, it was New Amsterdam before. Not so long ago, it was New Amsterdam. So they had a big part of the land, Dutch people, and then the British. We know America North was the British part of America. The South was the French part of America. The French also got involved, and there were so many sailing. The French came later on. They came with Republic, probably, with how to govern the area, how to influence it in some way. They came with ideas of freedom. The Statue of Liberty is a gift from France. And yeah, later on we know what happened. It was at some moment the manpower that was not used for war, some other manpower taken just to work in the field in America to have to share the new land and new land's possibilities and prosperity, and they were put to work there. And the French, since they were so close to Africa, I think this is a they somehow wanted to free the people that are working there. Why are those people working? And this is a good question to ask yourself. Why are those people working? What is in that for them? Are they just to work there? Now we are talking about Africans. They were seen and still are seen till today as demonish. Even in the Bible it says dark people, demonish. So it's not so much to judge. I know it's not to judge a person by a color. I mean, don't be a racist. I'm a demonist, if any. I was a religious person my whole life. And it was revealed through revelations that somehow the devil sticks to the dark color. You can be the kindest, the best, the most best person in the world, but at some moment in your day, which is like 10% of your being is demonish. 10% is demonish, devilish. So they were right to be treated like this. They came there in the name of God. Conquistadors went to South America with the Bible in their hands. In America, they still say, in God we trust. So in the name of religion, they continued this battle against and to control, at least when it wasn't a battle to fight, at least to control and put them to good use. So putting them to good use was completely excused if someone might have, with what right? With the religion and divine right. That's with what right? They were seen as demons. They believed in God, and God don't want any business. God wants us to oppose the demons, to fight the demons, and in times of peace, to still keep a sanity point when they make the littlest move. You have to watch, to be always on your watch when you have to deal with demons. So the way they were treated there was probably according to this attitude that you have to have. Okay, and with that being said, that's a good for French that they were like this. But another, I had some revelation that French, maybe some of the demons might themselves, some white demons. Sorry, this, but they have those ears, those and pointing nose and ears that gives it out. Those the other demons. So probably they just went there to save some of their own on the mainland. Hey, leave those people alone. They are friends. Yes, they were friends, but the other were not demons. Okay, I don't want to leave that. All French or all Africans or all Africans, even if, as I said, even if they are the kindest in the world, the devil sticks somehow to them, and you have nothing to do. So, on this objective revelation, in my point of view, we should still have the same attitude as before. Always watch them. Always be on your watch. Always, if they go and start to take stuff, immediately other punishment than with their own human race. Because a dark person, an African, they have a different, even a different emotional receptor. The opposite. When a human cries or laughs, he feels it in the heart. When they cry or laugh, they don't feel it in the heart. They feel it somewhere else. So that means they don't feel so much the pain. You cannot put the same sentence on a white heritage on a human which has different emotions. So it's different punishment. I know humans are also, oh, we have so many problems. They steal too, they lie, they hurt. No, of course, they're not all people of religion. Of religion are the main people, but when it comes to this, they are different in approach. They should be treated differently when punished. When should be treated differently when on pause. When a human sleeps is somehow, when a demon sleeps is something else. So you have to, even when you watch them when they are both sleeping, someone has to be watched somehow. Someone else, not like that. Someone has to watch their feet, to watch their feet, their mental feet are the when someone is showing the vision about the feet, to always watch what they are thinking at night, what they are doing, what they are thinking, what they are thinking, while the whites to be watched why what they are feeling. Yeah. Okay, I know this is a little bit complicated, but we should know what it is. And to talk, to further elaborate, to just add on actually to this last part, if people went in the name of God, and this I want to know, in the name of God, they have to have like an authority, a paper from somewhere in whose name are you invading the grounds. And of course people, not, I don't know if in the name of the Bible, because in the Bible it don't say, Jesus don't say to find new stuff. He says what is Caesar's, give to the Caesars. And Caesar, what is Caesar, give to Caesar. And yeah, they use it as an excuse there. And when they went in North America, they didn't use this excuse so much. So but the French who started the revolution somehow, because they didn't agree with the British, which were in the front, in the north of America, the upper half of America. There was the British rule, and the French, they had their main problems on the mainland Europe, British and France, and they didn't like each other. There was always something happening since 500 years before they went to America. They were still there, so when they found themselves in America, yeah, it's still okay. So they kept their competition there, and the competition, we don't know, were the British in the name of God there on the mainland, and if they were in the name of God, they were right to treat the Africans how they were treated if they were in the name of God. But if the French are God's fearing and God behaving people, then why didn't they agree with the Brits? And why then everything that was bad fell on British ground, backyard somehow? And the French also probably did a pull out of America, a better pull out from there, like later on the Ottomans were to pull out of Africa. The Ottomans pull out of Africa in order to stop this further exploitation, and it went very bad, so they pulled out. After the Ottomans pulled out in 1877, their empire went astray, and after that probably the French slowly pulled out of North America too, and just they didn't want to have this on their books or something, so they just ran away if they had any guilt, so they had to place on them, everybody covering their problems. But what happened there in North America is those who stayed behaved in the name of God. But if they came there in the name of, then all the treatments of the past should be excused there. I know we live in 21st century, different laws, different stuff, but the ways they were treated there, if they went in the name of the Bible and that everything there, how they were treating, how they were whipped, how they were, that was, don't put on any man there. Put it on the priest that came on the mainland, not even on the priest, and put it on Jesus because he's the main figure in the Bible, on the New Testament. And if not, to put on the Jesus and the New Testament, put it on the Spanish who first went in the name of God to South America. Put it on them, this way of treating demon-looking people, demons. But then again, we have to ask who started first the Crusades to Israel, because that were the first pilgrims, fighters in the name of God. That was in 1200. This happened in 1500s when Spanish went in the name of God. So in the 1200s, who were they targeting? To reveal Israel from the threat of Islam. And that was a good reason to go there, to free the birthland of Jesus in the name of his own religion. So free Jesus, so Islam don't further spread. The Ottomans were already in the land in 1200s, were preparing to be in the land. 1260 they were already on the way to move there. Or there was it 100 before. They were 1300 they were on the move. 1300 they were on the move, the Ottomans. So it was a valid reason, that call for the Crusaders to go to Israel to free Israel. But maybe, I'm just thinking to myself, maybe the call would have been to stop the Ottomans from gaining power and becoming an empire, because that was the real threat, and that was the real threat to Christianity. And they went so far, Ottomans, when they got into power, so far that they reached France and even some Spanish people, and across Europe, so many Orthodox lands, so many Catholic churches, Orthodox, the two main churches of the world. Greece, Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Slovakia, Slovenia, Lithuania, Latvia, and Italy. And they wanted Italy, but they didn't dare, because Italy was the Roman Empire before. The Roman Empire. And they failed the Crusades because they were addressing wrong. The Crusades failed because they were addressing the wrong spot. They were fighting on another territory. And they failed. Since they failed, the Ottomans got into power, and when they got into power, many bad things happened. All the perversities of the world was unleashed on earth when the Ottomans came to power. But the Ottomans also had a difficult bringing up into the world. They were influenced by the Mongolian Empire. Somehow. Before that, with Timur Lenk, who raped the sultans, the king's boys, was raped by Timur Lenk as a sign not to invade them again, or not even think of invading them if they didn't do in the first place. And when they invaded, the Timur Lenk method that the Turks got from that raping the boys, they said, we are not gonna rape boys. And when they went to the land of Europe, a Christian land, they behave accordingly. They conquered and disrespected women in a ugly manner in the buttocks, or like in that quote from a president with no, sorry for this, not a joke, it's true. And they disrespected all the women on their way, and that perverted uh, everything there. And I can put a little side note: how can that pervert a person? Because when someone has a pleasure in the, whenever after that, if it's a other pleasure than releasing something from there, is if it's a pleasure of inserting something, every moment that person has to go to the bathroom, it will be linked to that moment. But it's another story of hedonist and the libido that I will talk about. How this, even if only once that, if only, doesn't matter, if only once that happened that you got pleasure from inserting instead of excreting something, that will ruin the complete balance of that person. Every moment he has to go to the bathroom, and he goes like one a day or two a day. That means in a year he does something unsacred 365 days of the year, or 180 days of the year he does something unsaint because of this. This we have to talk in a hedonist libido lesson, how to send back that sin and get the power back, because this also loses the power in the body. You barely move, you don't have energy, mental energy, or the power to fight against the demons and the evil doers. And yeah, so I think this mapped what we had. Next we will talk, I don't know when next will be, but I want to talk about what happened in Asia after the route was rediscovered through the Silk Road, and the Dutch Indies Company, since they were a company, they said, we are a company, we can go by boat, we can buy ship, we can buy. So they went on the land, and what happened there and in Japan, Mongolians, when they got to power through Genghis Khan, he wanted to reach all the way to China, and China built the China Wall. The Wall of China was built to hold back the Mongolians. They were very strong people, and the Mongolians, led by Genghis Khan, he also had a moment when his wife was taken away from him, and by men, and he wanted to prevent this from happening, or send like more sort of disrespect the futures to come. He disrespected every household by going there and asking for the daughters of the conquered villages near the area, and to plant a seed in them was the idea, to plant a seed in every girl of the household. And he didn't go for their wives. This is out of respect. His wife was taken, and you know how painful it is. He went for their daughters, to plant a seed in them, to make so many of himself, Genghis, in the area, in order to hold the land so they don't attack him. Later on, this failed somehow because the technique was bad. You don't send the seed. They thought maybe that the seed, if it's a child, if the seed goes to them through the oral cavity, if it's injured, the seed, then it becomes a baby. And they continued, but the young woman, since she didn't have a menstruation, probably the information that the future child will still have the information from the belly, from the womb, by sending the seed to them, like that. And this was seen by Timur-Lenk, who later came to power, as a perverted way, but still one military action failed, because Timur-Lenk had to do another more drastic measure to rape the future boys for this, because boys learned, yes, the daughters were taken away, and they got the seed from Genghis Khan, and she will they will have the seed from him, they will birth the children of him. Now, that Timur Lenk didn't want this attitude, so he sent the soldiers to uh, rape the boys in the behind to cool them down, so to have no energy, to be docile, to be submissive. And since it was like this, Timur Lenk came to make deals. Who were invading there? Why were they trying to take Genghis Khan's land? And then Timur Lenk, they wanted Mongolia. Mongolia is such a beautiful, beautiful land. Beautiful, not so much in what you see mountains, there are hills, and it's a very pleasant land to live in. You can breathe, you feel you are alive there. It's a land, believe me, if you see it, it's not much to see, but when you are there, when you feel it, you feel like you are on the womb of the earth, or on the, I don't know, you're just laying on God's belly, sulking in the sun, or in the cold, or in the wind. It's a very beautiful land. It's very, not beautiful physically, visually. There's nothing bad about its steppes, the Mongolian steppes, like fields, plains, the Mongolian plains. It's so you feel like you're alive, you breathe, you feel you are home, and that's where you want to stay for the rest of your life. But and Genghis got this message from somehow, probably Genghis or someone near around him got this message, and he wanted to push other people from coming to their land. So he got another information, Genghis Khan, that it's bad, it's a bad land, it's ugly, it's nothing to do. So he went for mountains somehow to push out the future people to come there, to push them away from the land. He went all the way to China to push them. Somehow he went with the thought they will go to China and conquer China. He didn't know why he was conquering China, but he felt a divine call, and that was the call. And since that, much is to say about what happens in the Asian parts of the world. And we have to read more about the Chinese dynasty. And there also I heard, since they were all traveling and new roads to America, they wanted to add some new timelines, some new time length to their dynasty. They added 6,000 more years to their history books, just to keep up with because they have different time calculations. It's normal. They had the Western world, if also different writing. They said in 1414, then we have to do this 3,000 or 2,000, 3,000 more than that too. In 14, we did this in 3,000, and there was some lies there. Also, the Romans, they had lies before, and yes, there was a little piece of information I forgot there when I added about how the Ottomans avoided the Italy, which was the former Roman Empire. They avoided that, but still when they got to power in Constantinople, they took what was the Eastern Roman Empire, and they'd call it after that, to just control more area, they called it Rumelia, the Eastern Roman Empire, which it was the land of the roses, if you can smell. That was the main Rumelia part. Land of the roses is Bulgaria of today. And then little part of Greece, north of Greece, little part of Serbia, and of course, and the south, big part of Rome, which became after I don't know what proposal, it was called Romania. But how far was Rumelia in? Were there East Roman Empire, were there in the south? We have information here. They Romans never lived in the south. So that part, which is Bulgaria of today, with the Danube, there is the Danube. Where is Bulgarian border and the Romanian border? There is the Danube river. And the Danube is very difficult to cross. It's a long, long land. And since the historical heritage of the East Roman Empire was placed in Transylvania, how were they in the south? So when they got into power and they bought the chunk of land from the Romans, they extended little over the Danube, in my opinion, just to have some. They couldn't cross the Danube. They weren't allowed. The Turks weren't allowed. The bridge was closed, and the Turks weren't allowed. The Ottomans weren't allowed to cross from there over the Danube. So they just said, okay, this part was the former historical Rumelia. They couldn't go to Transylvania because Transylvania was already captured, was already engulfed by it already had a constitution, it already had a king, it already had people living and fighting there, because it was a fighting ground. It was a citadel. All Transylvania was like a citadel. First, it was by the mountains, because it's a mountain-shaped curvature to it, which makes it like a fortress. Like a fortress, it was Transylvania. So the Turks didn't go there because this fortress was protected very well by the German Saxons. The German Saxons were protecting very well and governed by Hungarians. Hungarians governed it very well there. And they brought the fighters, the Germans, to protect, since they had a good reputation of being good fighters. The Dutch are also of the same upbringing, good fighters, and they were used before. They were Teutonic cavaliers. They were used in Europe too, in wars. But later on, the Teutons didn't have so much to do, so they got into trading business and traveling business. That's when they start traveling, went to America. They have nothing to do there. So the Saxons here protected very well the land. And yeah, we just discussed what when they went to America, the Dutch people, they got Vasco da Gama's notes and Zanzibar's and the Spanish notes, and they fought at sea. We just talked, and they reached there and they controlled. So the Saxons somehow related to the Dutch people. Saxons also come exactly from where Holland is today, from those parts. And since they were here on the land, to continue to add, the Ottomans couldn't keep up, couldn't enter the former Eastern Roman Empire colonies and heritage. If there were some archaeological sites, they didn't reach there. So the Turks took Rumelia by somehow fraud. They said, yeah, Rumelia was this part too. The South Romania was never the East Roman empires. So they just sort of took more land than they could. Yeah. And with no right from the start, because it was someone else's. But when they conquered Constantinople, they thought by conquering and entering a church, the main church there, Sophia Church, if they took the main, the Constantinople very beautiful architectural structure, it was a main church of the Orthodox East Orthodox Church empire, so to say, church empire, if you can call it like this, because it's like the main religion. And since they took that big church, they was allowed by the rabbis from there, the rabbins. They said, while they came with good thought in their mind to have the new religion of God, they were allowed in the name of the religion to enter the area, because the main church of Constantinople, allowed people of all colors, of all traditions, of all faiths to enter and be like a person of faith. But it was mainly Orthodox Christian church. But they allowed, I think it was a church who allowed all faiths, like it was in the Roman Empire before. They believed in deities, they believed in religion. They were working close. It was that the Christianity to live alongside with the people who adored divine in other ways, in deities, in gods, in Zeus and Morpheo and other deities, Poseidon and Aphrodite. People know they allowed people with all their who believed in gods, in other gods. They allowed this to happen both. So when the Ottomans came there, they had to have a way in the territory. So they went first, probably in my vision, they went disguised as saints coming to the land, as a worshipper of gods. And when they learned what happened in the place, and this is a sort of new shown inspiration, they came. There is a game, artistic depiction of historical events called Assassin's Creed, and it shows some of this when you get disguised. So probably they went disguised there as a saint on the land, but they acted somehow different. I haven't played the game, so I don't know where it comes, but all the disguise from there, they probably got the inspiration from where, because it's not in the history books, this what was just revealed, and it's not through video games either. So we'll stop that comparison here for now, because I don't have the information. After I will have some approach to the game, I will see what piece of information is real and what not. And so the Ottomans, the Turks, came to the land and seen it as a prosperous land. Of course, people weren't ready to fight in Constantinople. It was the place of Constantine and Elena's place, which was the first who adopted Christianity in the Roman Empire. They adopted Christianity before people believed in gods only. So it was the former place of Constantinople. They allowed this to happen. So they went there disguised and took a place by other means. First by, who knows, maybe it wasn't a full fight. They just said this is the main religion, and after that they say, yeah, it is, but we believe in gods too. That wasn't the deal with the Christian. Constantinople left in his will that people can come here of all faiths and still to adhere slowly to Christianity, not so quick transformation, if any. And they left there with there was a fight, I think. There was a fight. They didn't understand what Constantinople, who Constantine. Constantine was the emperor of the Roman Empire, and he, in his will, I said his wife, sorry earlier, his mom, Elena. Constantine and his mom, Elena. Yeah. And they allowed the religion to continue on, the other to adhere slowly. And there was a confusion, because the Ottomans probably, they sent also from the workers, the fighters. They weren't meant for religion, they were meant for merchants, they were meant for retributing or attributing new lands and new possibilities. And they went there, and probably there was a misunderstanding, so they closed altogether Christianity on that eastern block of the Christian church. After that, when they went to the western part of their part, south of Black Sea, if you have the map in front of you, and north of south, and so it is north, and of course north to south is the middle is the Black Sea, to the left is Bulgaria, Romania, and they went to these lands first. They went to Greek too, They went to the Orthodox. They searched who is the Orthodox, because it was the Orthodox church at that moment when they went there. It was an Orthodox church. So they went to the Orthodox to fight the Orthodox people, the one who were Orthodox, the other wing of Christianity. So first they fought only with the Orthodox. The Orthodox were the Greek. They fought with the Greek. The Orthodox were the Bulgarian. They fight with the Bulgarians. The Romania, which was the Romania, it didn't have a Romania name that. It was Wallachia in the south, Moldova to the northeast, and Bessarabia, no, Moldova to the northeast. Bessarabia was also there to the northeast. Moldova was easterner than Bessarabia. Bessarabia, there is a local Bessarabia and this Bukovina. Bukovina, so there was Bukovina, which is the north of the land. There was Moldova, which is the right of the land. There was Wallachia, which is the south of the land. And there was the middle. And all these were there. I was interrupted here by someone, but all information till now was very valid, very real revelation. I didn't know. She said Bessarabia, but I know Bessarabia is another part of the country. Bukovina was that north of the country. So when the Ottomans came, in the name of, they didn't know what to do because there was no official religion here. So they attacked only countries with official religion of Orthodox Church. Orthodox Church. And since the Christianity wasn't, they were people of faith here, but they didn't have official religion. Probably the Transylvania had official religion, the Catholic Church. They had the Transylvania, so the middle part of the country. That's why we don't talk about the middle part of the country, because it was ruled and governed by the Hungarians and the Saxons guarding it. And when they went there, they didn't have what to do to have a legal ground of entering. Because they didn't have a legal ground of entering, just before entering, these are pages of history of hundreds of years, so I have to talk like this. But before this, they were looking at the ground, also like merchants on the ground, to see what's happening. Because on the land, on Wallachia and in the south, and in the country, there were many from the former maritime route, economic route, there were many merchants, Greek merchants. Even Ovid, the poet Ovidius, lived at the Black Sea Black Sea area. He was exiled excommunicated from the empire, Roman Empire, for doing a mistake, a poem and a mistake. He thought of the queen's shoes. He looked at the shoes or something. It was very unrespectful for him. He was sent to live there for the rest of his life. And since he was sent to live there for the rest of his life, probably in the south, they came after him. He was one of the greatest Roman Empire's poets, and probably he called. Many went to him. He knew his route, so in the south they were there to a bit through the link of Ovid. But in the north, as to return to this, there was no link to the Roman Empire. To the middle of the country, no link to the Roman Empire. To the north of the country, no link. Moldovan, no link to the Roman Empire. And the south, no link, only a poetic link to the Roman Empire. And the Rumelia's link to the Roman Empire, from the Turkish point of view, should be the Ovidius link to it. The Roman Ovidius Publius Naso. And if he brought some people in the land. But when they attacked, they wanted in the name of religion. Because that was the only way they could enter the land, in the name of the religion. Okay, and they looked around what religion might have been there And since they didn't find no main religion, only the Catholic Church, and they were so afraid because they were so strong. They wanted this south, Romania, and maybe a little to the right, the Moldovan part. And the south and Moldova they wanted. But for this they had to have the legal ground for it. And since they hadn't a legal ground, they called for the local sort of smaller king of the area, of south area, smaller king, a king, but it wasn't king of the whole land. His sons, he's the main important man, the Vlad Țepeș's father, Vlad Dracula's father, was asked to send the boy and brother and to his two sons to be schooled in Turkey, to go there to learn some things. And when they went there, the two boys, Vlad and Radu, they went and they were schooled in order to come back to the land, be smart, and put a new administration there. To put a new administration in the land. They were given two choices by the Turks. It was said either to implement religion as a main religion in the whole land, Orthodox religion in the whole land, and the other choice was to implement another agreement, another rule in the land, where everybody can do what they want, Since Vlad was probably a more prominent speaker, but since his brother Radu was disrespected by a Turk while they were studying, they got angry at the Turks. When they returned to the land, they said they would do what they told them to do, to implement the religion, but they agreed both, or they agreed both to implement the Orthodox Church or to give up all religion and let the gypsy find the new religion. This is another story. The gypsies were on the area, coming from Iran, which is the Persian land. And they came to these parts. Sorry for the interruption. This person don't know that Iran is Persia of today. Don't interrupt, please, if you don't understand. They were asked, will they have Iranic religion there? Another Urduic language, religion, Urduic religion, or Orthodox Christian religion. And when they came on the land, Vlad seen his brother being hurt. They remembered when he was hurt in the Roman Empire. Former Eastern Roman Empire, which was now Ottoman Empire. So they were hurt there. They were disrespected, so they was out of the books, sort of, to introduce or not introduce. There was either flight or fight. There was no option to implement religions anymore. But when they came on the land, they knew what was gonna be about. They should have talked with the Greek people, what happened there, but they prefer, as I know Greek people, they want to keep to themselves what happened. Good or bad, suffering or joy. Even in 2004 when they won the championship, you can see on the footballers, they didn't enjoy so much, because if you enjoy too much a victory or something, you won't be so proud in the future. It's like a bad luck. You enjoy too much something, so they enjoyed, but still, and probably they had a victory there, if this is the revelation, but they didn't want to say how and what. And Vlad didn't communicate with them, so he was left alone. Vlad, we don't know, was he adherent of the religion, was a fan of the religion when he was sent there in the name of, in the former pilgrimage land, the Constantinople, near the Constantinople church. Was he into religion or not? He was not, I think, religious fervor. He didn't disrespect, but he was not a religious person. There should be a third, and that was a third king there, Stefan the Great, Stefan cel Mare. He was a religious person, but they communicated after, on the mainland they communicated, Vlad with Stefan cel Mare. And Stefan protected Moldova at all costs. They heard what it was about. It was about Ottomans coming into the land and implementing the religion. I make a side note because I made too much roundabout. For what right with what question in mind did the Ottomans want to engulf the area? In the name of God they could conquer it, otherwise no. So they had to implement the religion first and after conquer it. So, since Vlad had a different approach to fighting with the soldiers, that was out of the question to put a religion there. And that meant conquering in other ways, in both ways, in what way they could, because it was a land where anything was possible. People of no religion here. Then we have a different approach. Moldova was saved. It was saved all the way during the Ottomans' stay here on the land. 600 years. Moldova was respected more than the south of the country and north. North was not touched. The middle part of the country, which is the Transylvania, they were Christians. So that was not to fight with the Christians like this. But with this, the Ottomans said, okay, we don't go no longer. We stay, we have what we need, we stay here. So they stayed in the south too. They had the south near, they came near the center, that was all. And they didn't go to Moldova because they had the Christian rule there. There was a fearful man who believed in God. So they stopped there. But they still did a lot of what they had in plan here in the south of the land. And to return to what I was talking about, the Crusaders, and this is what stopped the Crusades too, when they said probably said the Muslims, the Islam won. They see what was happening, okay, it's another rule, and they say, no, it's no Islam here. It's a new religion. A new religion, they said no. The religion of faith in the hedonistic, if there is a hedonist God, in the God of pleasure. Hedonist is the approach when you enjoy life, enjoy life. Whatever life gives you, you enjoy. But they didn't get the lesson about enjoying even the painful moments, to enjoy them and to get them as a lesson. They were in the empire in the south, in this land. There were after this there were harems where people could go there and have nice moments with wives of some other people, and they were taken from the people because Vlad lost. He was mainly a threat to the Turks, but he wasn't It was a stop from here to there, and as a sign. He was kept as a sign for centuries to go. That this is the religion here, sort of. Give, take, do. Who wins, who fights? That's the religion of the South. And that was kept even till today. There are some people on the sea. Hey, what? They just take and take. Next moment you come and you take, and they always taking something. And yeah. So, but when it comes to the other parts of Romania, which were Christians, they had, and they stay on the land. They stay on the land in the name of this. When Vlad wasn't helped by the Greeks, because why? They didn't speak to him. They could have said, "Hey, do this to them, and you win against them." Probably they were sent. They got passage through Bulgaria, through the land. They got passage, and they went all the way there, and there they liked it, and they stayed in the land of Romania. And after that, staying there, they had a base there. They still went to the Western Europe, and they went all the way through Europe, through France, and they were taking people like the later Dutch in the West Company. Although it says Dutch in the East Company, it was somehow called the West Company, and they influenced with their merchants. They influenced the Dutch to become an company. They learned with the Silk Road. They learned how things were governed here in the Europe, and they got a message, and they also got a message that things are gonna be bad here, and probably that's why the Dutch left Europe altogether and went for a new land to find something else, because what was happening was outrageous. What was happening. The Turks were doing business. It was strong, the Turks. When they came, it was the Turks are coming. Everybody was the strongest. That was the strongest army our recent history has ever seen. After the Roman Empire, they were the Roman Empire, sort of, because they wanted that eastern part plus some more. Until they were stopped somehow. They were stopped with if we can put a poetic note to it, a love letter of amour from France. If in Greek they got a message what to do, in France also they got to do what the women should do when they are arriving, to leave them thinking they like them, they love them. And that's all about them. They needed that kiss somehow. And if they felt they are loved, because they were driven to conquer the world, to be men by their wives. Be a man. Probably returning to Genghis Khan, how he was a man taking other parents' daughters to have this seed and that's the way of being a man. But the Turk filial, the Turk way of seeing things, was to be a man in other ways, to put the man to respect, and that's how you become a man. If you put another man to respect, to be you put him to his place, sort of, to put him to his place. That's what the message from Timur Lenk. And they want to put the man to his place by disrespecting women. That's what the Turks, that was like a you know how that was. Not only the man has to sit there and watch his woman being raped in front of him. That was the Turkish way. Raped the wife in front of him to get the message. If he ever tries anything, it's other stuff that goes. And of course, so they were very strong there on the land. But in France, she gave the note that she loved him maybe more than her own man. And that's what they wanted. When they felt that was the emotional engine that kept them okay. Let's stop. It's a paradox. How can an engine stop? And that's the main motor of the place. When they got that message, their women they could go back to their women. They were men now. Another woman wanted them more than their own men. That's what they wanted. And many have this today. They have this trait. They have this trait to make that man feel like feel hurt in love, but not disrespecting the man. Maybe feeling the woman's look at him and the man feels it, and yeah. But to return, they also returned and they stayed on the land. But what stopped them? Many people stopped in the name of religion. They were pushed back. They were pushed back. Actually, I think they went home defeated from the West. But they kept it out from the books in order to keep the authority to it. At least keep it in the books so people don't disrespect. They were pushed out of the land. And with that being said, we will see if there will be more revelation about how they were treated. And they said, okay, go and stay there in your Rumelia. That was, stay in your Rumelia. Rumelia, they stayed. And after the independence war against the Ottomans, which the Rus, another strong Orthodox point, another, this is with this sounds, it's actually the inverted to what there was just heard in the background when it is with this auditorium. But there was inverted reaction. I think there was a strong Orthodox church in the north and strong Orthodox church in the south, Greece. If they could have got together with a strong Orthodox in the middle, which was Moldova, then they would have had by the beast. They would have had this. But somehow, what happened? The leader of Moldova was executed like Caesar. Somehow, he was the ruler. He became the ruler of all three parts of the Romania: the north, the south, the east. All three main parts, of course, and the center, which is we call it the west. So north, south, east, and the center and the west, which englobes. He became the leader of all Romanian people living on the territory. But what did he call them? They were called Menenziade. We don't know now what that means. It meant all the people living in the area, probably set up by the Turks. Okay, unite them all under your rule. It was a puppet king, probably. Unite him under this rule and say it's your land, all the land, and then the Turks would take all the land, take the titles from the Hungarians who governed the land 600 years. They had until that point. They had 600 years of experience. The Saxons, which are the Dutch-related people, governed and protected the citadel, the fortress of the center of the country. They were after this unification. Was this agreed by the center of the country or not? Since the king Michael the Great was somehow related to, he had a Hungarian helper growing up. So they said somehow that was the fault here. They wanted him to be the representative of all the country. They were tricked, Hungarians. They thought if he gets to the power, Mihai Viteazu, if he gets to the power, Mihai Viteazu, they will have the whole land for themselves. So the Hungarian rule everywhere. That's what they were a double message, a triple message maybe. One for the Romanians in the south. They will be their land. One for the Moldovan, which was the heritage of Ștefan cel Mare, Ștefan the Great. And if everybody was promised something, everybody thought he was a representative of them, of the three historical parts of their land. But the Hungarians was lured, tricked, that this is what it was about. It was a trick there, and they were tricked. And this trick did something after he united all the land. He left for 1 year, I think. It was not even that. After that, he was killed. So he was made king of all people living in the land. To the Hungarians, he said, for the Hungarians, to the south in the Romania, it was the south for the Wallachians, to Moldovians for the Moldovians, and to the Transylvania for Transylvanians, so center of the country. South is Țara Românească, so it's, yeah, they said for all people there, he will be the king of all people. But after that, the Turks probably, they said the disguised people, this is Operation Saleh. They had to disguise this somehow, this Operación complicada. They tricked the king, the newly found king, and also masked somehow, so they don't know who attacked him. But they made it look like a Brutus error. Something like a Brutus error. And when Brutus made the mistake or Brutus was forced to attack Caesar. He was forced to attack Caesar, and Caesar said the beautiful words, "Even you, Brutus." And the same happened here. They wanted this to happen, but I don't know, did they get the message or not? But he was killed, Michael the Great was killed there. And the land was left up to grabs. They returned the former Roman threat when there were so many migrating waves coming around, and the Romans couldn't hold the land back, and they gave up the eastern wing of the Roman Empire. So they made this like chaotic everywhere. Hey, it's a new threat, and then they wanted this as a scenario. The Ottomans, the Turks, to want, hey, we catched all. They were good actors, the Turks. I don't know if that message went. There was three versions of this. So the next version was to still continue and have influence over the whole land as merchants, and each with their land, each with their part, what they had from the historical point of view. Hungarians with their part that they got. This we have to return to this lesson, to how the Hungarians entered the area. We know Attila lived in the area in 476 something, Attila the Hun. And this will be another story about how they entered and what given right they have. I think they have more right, the Hungarians here, than the Hellenes. They were merely merchants, but the Hellenes were here before. They were in the south, the merchants, or were they in the north? Remains to see where were they, and which has the more right to be in this land and to be sort of at least the main powers in the land. Because all the historical evidence is 476. That's before the Tatars, before the Slavs, before the Turks, before many other populations that came after. So we have to see. Okay, and when this was a close-up, this was a close. There's still problems till today, 600 years after they entered the land, the Ottomans. There still are many problems. They don't know which is which, what is what. So after the Michael the Great incident, they took the land, as I just said, each to what they had, each to their own lands and their own. But the south had to suffer a lot to the hand of the Turk, and they even left children here. They had till today they have cousin, hey cousin. They look at them, they look the same. Hey. So I don't know. They have heritage here, family heritage here. Okay, but we will discuss later on. This was important part of the story. How the north of Europe is involved here in when we talk about Attila the Hun, we will talk about the north of Europe because Finland had another approach to the Mongolian upbringing people. If they're the two, Timur-Lenk and Genghis Khan, to retribute something, one to the third wave, which was influenced also by the Chinese. The Chinese sent their men with the Japanese. Attila the Hun was Chinese Japanese sent as a Mongolian, as a Hun, the Hun. And the Chinese Japanese, as I said, the part with Asia, we still have to look over the information there. And because when it comes to we looked at it first, and then we will talk what happened with North Europe and the Siberian Asians and the Asians in the south, and how things were at that point. Close up today. Thanks for listening.